Hello and good morning, everyone. Only Positivity here. Got my tea with me, ready to kick off podcast number 104 on this playlist that I'm looking to launch called Elevated Thoughts. Now, before diving into the topic for today, before today, let's go and start with the level set. So, as I endeavor upon pursuing knowledge and life experience in this next phase of life through fitness, photography, reading, cannabis, travel, many more things. One habit that I've really formed, and like I already said, is travel. So this podcast is going to go through some of my recent travels, those lessons learned, and see how we can apply those to my day-to-day. Now, I just randomly decided to do this today because I feel like I hadn't put one out in a while, and I just wanted to hop on and kind of run through some of my my endeavors as of late. And I was watching. I was listening to some of my old podcasts, and I've been putting out these journal entries as of late, which is more of a melancholic, I guess, trippy endeavor, but still something artistic and something I like doing. So I just been going down that path for a little bit, and that's kind of taken me away from the travel and the book reviews. Still been reading, still been doing all that stuff. But I figured today what I could do is go over kind of the tail end of 2022 and kind of do a 2023 recap for those motherfuckers that are interested. Yeah, so I think the last podcast we left off at Washington, D.C., which was in August, I would say, let me see when that was, man. The time be flying, bro. If you don't keep track of it, it really just kind of gets over your head. And that's the interesting part of it, right? Like I was listening to some of my older podcasts about Vegas and just things I had been doing with the boys. And, I was like, man, this is cool because, it's still fresh in my mind. It's only been a few years, but over time, those memories are going to fade. I won't be able to call upon them as easily. So I figured, let me just do it like this, right? After Washington, D.C., the next major trip that I had gone on was our international trip to Spain and Portugal. And for those of you that follow me on Instagram, I went in on that motherfucking trip. It was a blast. It was one of the best things I've ever been on, right? I maybe even the best trip, but it's hard to compare, man. Places aren't apples to apples. I did go on a little journey to Malibu. I took my cousin out there for her 21st birthday. But that was a fun trip, right? That was a really great trip with her. But some family shit going on, so it was kind of bummy in its own way, So I guess I did count it. It was beautiful, man. Malibu was fucking awesome, but it was just kind of there was an overshadow on that, so I just kind of want to breeze past that. But other than that, I won't go too deep into like Spain and Portugal because it's been a little bit, but it was a great time, and I'll breeze over that one before laying low for the 2023 recap. But anyway, I don't even know where I'm going with all of this at this point. Let me just dive in. So we get on the plane, right? We go during that Thanksgiving week, and we're gonna do a direct flight from O'Hare to Brussels, which is like 8 hours, and then like another hour and a half, maybe 2 hours from Brussels to Lisbon, which was a blast. It's always like I always feel a little bit of anxiety on the way there because it's like you don't know where you're headed, and I feel like I'm in charge of logistics and I just want to get to where I need to go, right? But it's funny, my wife runs into someone she knew from college, and it's just a small world, right? Like literally a small world. I think we saw some people we knew on the plane to Italy this year, and it's just funny, right? Like people have similar thoughts, they want to do similar things, and it's like it's we're in this really cool phase of life where we're running into a lot of people we used to know, and we're meeting a lot of new people too. But anyway, I'm digressing there. So we do that trip, right? And we've been using this service called Kim, which is phenomenal. We've used them, I think, for we use them for the first time for our Spain and Portugal trip, and then we use them for Italy this year, and then I think we're going to use them again because we're planning to go to Switzerland sorry, I keep saying this year. We went to Italy in 2023, and then we're gonna go to Switzerland this year. So we're probably just gonna keep using them, and they have been fucking phenomenal. So definitely hit up kimkim.com for anything, you know. And Kim, fucking holler at your boy here, honestly. But anyway, so we pull up in Lisbon, and one thing that Kim does really well is they take care of like pretty much everything for you from start to finish. You just kind of let them know your preferences on activities, the quality of like the places you want to stay at, how much you want to move around, and things of that sort. And it's phenomenal. They do a great job. So, we hop into our first excursion, right? Our first endeavor in Lisbon. We get there, we get through customs, we do all our shit, and someone's there. They have our name on this little iPad. He picks us up and takes us right to our hotel, which is amazing. You know, it's like a nice, quaint little boutique hotel right in the heart of Lisbon. It's like it's on this nice street with all these bougie shops and shit like that. So you feel safe kind of walking around that area, you know. And then, you know, one thing you notice right away in Lisbon is that, you know, all the streets are paved with just like phenomenal, like, you know, cobblestones. I think they were made by slaves, which is kind of a sad pretense, but it is beautiful nonetheless, right? So we get back, you know, we get some food, and then we just rock a nap for a little bit, and, you know, we're getting adjusted to the time. I'm coming down off of my fucking edible kick, and you know, we take a nap, and we are just ready to go, feeling a little groggy, but it's all good. And we hit up this cooking class at night, and it was funny. There was this one racially ambiguous ass chick. They're from North Carolina. She was from North Carolina, right? So she had this like southern drawl kind of accent, but she was like Asian looking, and apparently, you know, she's from South Carolina or North Carolina, and her dad is like Asian, and her mom was like super southern. So, you know, got a little hybrid baby there. But we ended up making like, you know, some cod, you know, some bruschetta for appetizers, and it was a good time. You know, it was a really good time. It was a great first experience. It was just us and another couple there, and the proctor, you know, for the whole thing. And she was a little hands on. She didn't really let us do everything, but I get it, right? Like, she just like, you know, I guess she just knew the right way to do it. But we did end up cooking a bunch of cool stuff, and it was just a really fun experience, you know, and I would do it again, honestly. So then we go back, you know, knock out that night. And one thing I really love doing is getting breakfast. Like, I'm a big bruncher, and it's a good way to start the day off. And European breakfasts are always like healthy, right? Like eggs, yogurt, fruit, orange juice, that type of stuff. And then the first thing we did, we slid over to this little bakery and got some pastéis, which is kind of like an egg tart, fucking phenomenal. And then we had this little thing called a tuk-tuk tour, right? It's like a little rickshaw, and he takes you through this like old Lisbon, right? And it's like really narrow streets, like no cars would be able to fit up there, and just this little tuk-tuk thing he has, and we just go through these really historic older parts of Lisbon. And it was totally different from where we were staying at, because where we were staying at was pretty much all touristy, right? Like Gucci, Guess, you know, all that stuff, name brands I didn't even know about. So it was nice to like kind of take this little stroll, this little ride through, you know, an older part of Lisbon, and honestly get to see things that maybe the like a normal tourist just passing through wouldn't be able to see. You know, great views. Lisbon is a port city, just amazingly beautiful, man. It's just so majestic out there. There's like little trains going around. And so we did that for a couple of hours, man. This guy, his name was Nani. He kind of took us around, and then he dropped us off at like a local square, like their big plaza. And over at this plaza is this big timeout market, and there's timeout markets all over the world. So that's one thing me and my wife been kind of like trying to do, right? Hit up to Chicago, New York. There's one in Lisbon. There's one in Boston. So we've been going a few now, actually, which is absolutely amazing. If you can hear, I'm playing this video of one of the Lisbon views. I'm taking a stroll down memory lane here, my dudes. But what was really dope was one of my buddies was actually that I hang out with like every single week here. He was actually in Lisbon at the same time, and we just kind of linked up there. So he met us at the Timeout Market, and then we kind of just walked around the plaza, got some ice cream. Him and my wife are foodies, so they were going in, and it was just amazing, dude. Like my best friend, one of my best friends, and my actual best friend, who's my wife, right? She and her and just my dude just kicking it, hanging out, being foodies. It was phenomenal. We passed through this one, library, or bookstore that was opened in 1732, which was fucking dope, dude. It was just great to see that history, So then after that, right, we kind of parted ways with my boy, and then we went to this fado night. So fado is a type of Portuguese like singing, I believe, and it's like longing, melancholic, kind of like the Weekend type vibes, right? But more on a European front. And we go to this little fado club, and as we're eating, these singers come out and they're singing just like amazing little songs, man. It's just like the perfect vibe, and I'm all about the melancholy, So I was just reflective. I just couldn't believe you were there. It was the biggest trip that me and my wife had ever done. So I was sitting there like in awe of just like the fact that we were there. It was amazing. It was beautiful, And then so we kind of wrapped that night up, and then the next day, we end up just kind of doing our own walking tour in the morning, right? We just go around, figure our shit out, and then halfway through the day, we're doing like a food and walking tour with this dude. His name is Miguel, MVPV Productions out in Lisbon. Super cool guy. If you guys are going out there, hit him up. He is like this little fucking lively dude, and he'll give you the best tour ever, right? And he takes you to so many beautiful places. He takes you to the Alfama district, which is like an older, like, I wouldn't say it's not run down. It just has more character. There's like some long-standing Lisbon folk, or Lisboans, if you call them. And we walk through all these little churches, these little alleys. There's like graffiti on the wall, and they're paintings of various like fado singers and things like that. And there's so much history behind it. We got some great food, some sandwiches. We met like a mom and her daughter from America who were traveling, and another Indian dude who was traveling. And it was like, just one of the coolest things ever. I can't even describe it, just one of the most amazing things that I've ever done. And we left, we were buzzing, but our heart was so full. We ended at this very vibey coffee shop, and it was just like absolutely amazing, and then lastly, we capped it off with another, dinner with my dude, me and my best friend, my wife. We all got together, and we had some food, for our last night in Lisbon. And I'm kind of reaching through it quickly, but just one of the most euphoric trips I've ever been on in my whole life. So after that, we slide over to Madrid. Right. And then so the first night we get there, it's again a beautiful city. It was rainy a little bit, but no harm done. We went to the hotel, which was a dope little boutique hotel in the heart of Madrid. And then we went to this little Indian restaurant, a modern Indian restaurant called like Rangoli or something like that. And it's just vibey, man. Like they have like class down really well over there. And then we did a little bit of a walking tour, which was absolutely fucking dope. Once again, we went to the oldest restaurant I think in the world, or I forget what it's called. It's called Godin or Botin or something like that. It's in it's definitely like the oldest restaurant in the world, and I saw it on Somebody Feed Phil. So Phil, holla at your boy. It was cool. We didn't go inside actually, but a really amazing restaurant. And then we just walked around, right? We saw like some of the like the government buildings, which look like fucking castles. And it was just absolutely breathtaking. We were with another couple that was older, and they're from California, and they were just like this rich, white couple, and they were just so friendly, and they wanted to feel us out, and I was like, yo. So he made it like an offensive joke, and I was just like, fuck yeah, bro, let's fucking go. And then he was like, yo, these are my people. And so it was cool to bond with folks like that, right? And then, so we get done with that, rock a quick nap at the hotel, and then we have a flamenco night, and that was another, like, just like the fado night, just something that I wouldn't be able to expect, just out of this world, euphoric, man, out of this world. You got people just, they dedicate their lives to this dance and preserving this art form, right? And yeah, I don't know, I don't have words for it. People are happy here just dancing, and they'll tell you that like these flamenco dancers don't really know each other. They just get together and they hype each other up, and they don't knock each other down. And I was just like, that is phenomenal. That is absolutely amazing. So anyway, we end the night there, and then we slide over back to the hotel. We're tired, rocking a nap, and then the next day we head over to Toledo, and we take a train out there. Again, Kim rocking everything, just like an hour 45-minute train ride out to Toledo. And it is a beautiful city, unlike any other city I have ever been in, right? It's an old city, some Assassin's Creed ass shit going on. And we had this really like, innocent, nice dad of a tour guide. His name was Diego. And he took us through all the churches. He let us know all the backstories. We saw the Greco painting. We saw these, just the stories behind Toledo, right? When the Moors were around, and, just a lot of war and people like fighting for their lives. And, like marzipan, I think, was created there. It was absolutely majestic. Words cannot describe it, my dudes. It was absolutely phenomenal. I won't go into too much detail because that's still 2022, but it was just a blast. It was like straight out of an old school like movie from the Crusades. I can't even describe it that well for you, but it's just, words just don't do it justice, right? So I'll hop off that. Get some of my tea, motherfuckers. But other than that, so we go back. There's this one, let me see what this place is called. Oh shit, it's loud as fuck. Let me see if I can find the details on that is Mercado de San Miguel. So yeah, and then use Google Photos, guys, because it really organizes everything well for you. So Mercado de San Miguel, that was another thing that was on somebody feed, Phil, and it's just cool to be able to go and do shit that people have done like on TV and whatnot. You know what I mean? Just really nice. So again, I'm loving like being able to check these things off my list, right? So they got pickled vegetables. It's like a big ass food court. They got actual meals, different cuisines, just absolutely astonishing, So that was just a great way to wrap up Madrid, and that's really all you need there. You could probably spend time there, but that was all we needed, right? And then so the next day we take a train, 3-hour train over to Barcelona, and Barcelona again is another city unlike any other. It's a coastal city, right? So there's a lot of eclectic people there, narrow corridors. We were just walking through things that I've never seen before, just these very, very narrow corridors, but they're streets, people navigate them. And funny enough, we got to our hotel, which was a dope ass hotel, man. Like it was probably the most like hotel-y hotel, right? It looked like a hotel. It wasn't just like a boutique little thing. But we got there, just chilled out. We got a burger, probably the best burger I've had in my life, like nearby. And then we rocked a little nap, and then we had a walking tour, which was supposed to be a bike tour, but we get there and they say, a big group came and rented all the bikes. So they had these wooden bullshit bikes that I probably could have rocked, but they're a little too flimsy for my wife. And I was like, no, we'll just walk it, bro. Let's just walk it. So this guy, his name was Jordy. And he walked us around for 3 hours, showed us some historical shit, which was absolutely breathtaking as well, right? We stayed right outside La Sagrada Familia, which is like this amazing Gothic church. And so it was just a beautiful night, man. And then we ended up just, what did we do that night? We went to a spot and got some paella that night. After that 3-hour tour, got some Prosecco. And it was just so... It was so nice. There's actually this song I still listen to that I Shazammed out there. It's a piano song, like no words. And every time, it's called May I Ask. And every time I listen to it, it takes me back to just like having breakfast with my wife, in Barcelona, right? Like this sounds spoiled, sounds like rich, but it's not. It just takes me back to that time. And all those moments are so pivotal when you look back at them, But anywho, so we go back and knock out. We're tired, man. Travel day, right? It was a very fast and furious trip. And And so we learned from that, and I'll tell you why when we hit Italy this year. But we learned. But the next day we got up and we had a vineyard, like a wine tour. And it's so funny because they've always worked like this, right? So in the morning you go to some spot and it's always other white people, man. Like I mean, for me it's always been. And so like I'll sit there and they'll all be a little standoffish maybe because like we're brown and I don't know. Maybe we just like maybe I'm just giving the stank eye too. Who knows? But like, so we go to this beautiful winery, and it's just like on acres and acres of land. And there's a church that's over 1,000 years old on the property. And then once we get a few drinks in us, everyone's friendly. Oh, where you guys from? How you doing? And we're like, let's go. Hell yeah, cut the tension, grab some fucking wine and charcuterie. Let's go. So then they take us on these Land Rovers and we drive around the vineyard. And you just feel like, oh my God, this is awesome. And then, we're walking through these underground, cellars and stuff like that go on. You could get lost in there. They go on for miles. And then, we go to a bunch of other vineyards and then we're just kind of fucked up by the time we get home. But you know what? Not too bad, right? So then we end up coming back, obviously rocking a nap, right? And then my wife makes a reservation at this, what is it? Is it Ethiopian? I think it might have been an Ethiopian spot or like a Sri Lankan spot, right? And this guy, he ends up he's the owner and he is like doing the waiting too. And they tell you a time at which you can stay. He's like, I have a table from like 9:30 to 10:30. And it's really nice because they don't want to book their shit up more than they can like provide service to, right? Which I think is amazing. So this guy was attending to us. You could tell he's the owner. He was making us drinks. He was like kind of giving us a whole Michelin star kind of experience. A perfect way to end off the trip. Because I just absolutely loved it, man. I love people who like take that type of pride in what they do. It makes me just like extremely fucking happy, And that kind of wrapped up our trip, right? The only thing that our dumbasses did was on the way home, we had a ride scheduled, but we took a cab. So that's on us. But, with Kim, they give you you download this app and you can communicate with folks on that app. And it was just absolutely flawless, right? So that kind of wrapped up the travel there for 2022. We didn't really do much else in 2022 besides lay low. Got food poisoning, but that's okay. It should be happening, right? But anywho, so I'm taking a sip of my motherfucking tea here, boy. So, flash forward, we start off January, right? So, the main thing we're waiting for in January is my sister-in-law is about to have her second kid, my niece, who is cute as hell. But so we were gearing up for that, after the first couple of weeks in January. But first week in January, we went out to Portland for one of my buddy's birthdays. He was turning 30, so we kind of flew out there Thursday night, smashed out. It was kind of a cold trip, but all in all, just really beautiful, right? Like, Portland, weed's legal, so I'm all over that shit. Got some good views. And then, just kind of caught up with folk. Nothing too noteworthy to run home about, if I'm being honest. So then, after that, my little niece is born. We watched our nephew for a couple of days, and we learned a lot. It was definitely tough at times, but another thing you do for people you care about, my dude. So yeah, nothing too major there. Really cute stuff though. I was happy to be part. Like I've never been. Like this is maybe not someone's bucket list, but I had never been home when a family came home from the hospital. Like I was watching my nephew and my brother-in-law, sister-in-law, and the little one came home from the hospital for the first time. And I have a video of that, and I can't even tell you how wholesome that is, just to see like my nephew meeting his little sister for the first time, or just to be in that environment, right? I cried, dude. I was fucking like, oh my God, I'm emotional. But it was just like, I was thinking about all the great memories that I had with my nephew and how we're going to make even more great memories with my niece and nephew now, so much fun. And then at the end of January, I actually shadowed a wedding, and I booked my first wedding for this year too, as a photographer, man. So, things are looking good. I'm not sure I want to dabble in the wedding photography stuff, but, I'm gonna try it out, so that's fun too. And then afterwards, we went to in February. We hit up Nashville with for one of my wife's friends' 30th, which was fun. I'm not a big country music fan, and I've been to Nashville a couple times. I think it's good. It was fun. We had some laughs and stuff like that, but nothing too noteworthy. Just drinking, doing the bullshit out there, per usual. But another opportunity to just get back out, do things with other people. Have some fun, kick it, clown around a bit, right? Definitely hit up what is it, dude, there's Honky Tonk, right? That was one cool one. But again, I'm not a big fan of country music, so fucking fuck it, bye. But one of my boys was also had a kid this year out in July, and so we wanted to take him on his little dad chiller party, and we were like, where's warm, in March. So we slid out to New Mexico, which was not warm, and they had unprecedented snow during that time, but it was still really fun, right? We rented a nice Turo, did a couple hikes, cold hikes, went to Topgolf, picked up some bud, got some good views in, and hit this golf course, man. Like, it was really nice. It was up in the mountains. Like, the views from there were like absolutely phenomenal, dude. Like, you can't even make that shit up. We were like literally golfing in the mountains. So again, I'm not going to complain at all about that. It was absolutely phenomenal. I just wish it would have been a little warmer, but I'm really trying to pick up golf this year. So we're just going to see how that goes. But I will take any chance to get out with my boys and clown around a little bit, and then my buddy actually hit me up to go to this JID concert out at the Aragon Ballroom. It was JID and Smino, which was amazing. I had a great time there. JID is absolutely talented, man. That dude he's got good vocals, good articulation, and then kind of let all that go by. And one thing I did that was really unique last year was go on a trip with my cousin, who I hadn't gone on a trip with him ever. We kind of lost touch for many, many years, and we started picking back up. He's a lot like me. He's kind of a trippy dude, really into reading, and he was like, yo, let's go somewhere. And he was kind of like going like, hey, let's go to like somewhere crazy, like, out of the country. I was like, bro, like, it's our first time together. Let's just do something low key, or, not low key, but something more domestic. So that way we're not hitting it super hard. You know what I'm saying? So we ended up going to Denver. We stayed in Boulder, got a dope ass Airbnb out there. We had some hikes. We went to Denver, went to the Meow Wolf, like kind of visual experience, which it's hard to describe too. It's like the people who work there are in like character, and they're like they live in this world, and I would just highly recommend you guys check that out. It's called Meow Wolf. There's like an exhibit where like there's just like a hot dog spinning. There's rooms that are just like lit up. It's just a very abstract concept, but you're in these different galaxies and you're walking around, and you're just kind of exploring. It's like the visual stimulation of it all. Me and my cousin read this one book, and I forget the name of it. It was a dense book, but what the point of it is, we did book club at the top of this mountain that we hiked up, and that's a unique experience too. We just were like, hey, yo, it's called The Myth of Sisyphus. A little tough read, man. I wouldn't recommend it, but we powered through it, and we got to the top of this hike, and we just did book club, And we went to this tea room. That's like, it was like the building itself was like imported from Lebanon or a Middle Eastern country, and that was cool too. Like, the food was really good. Got a couple cocktails, and we just bonding, man, just talking. Discussing ideas. This dude's really thought provoking. So, what I like is like to get away from the weeds stuff, like the in the weeds stuff, like, oh my God, like this dude, like corporate work, or like just talking about basic like social dynamics. Like, let's just talk about ideas and life direction and shit like that, because to me that stuff is like really, really interesting. I obviously like talking about the day to day, but there's just got to be more, after a certain point, But so there's that, and then what do you call? So after that, that was the first week of April. I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me, motherfuckers. So Then like my tropical endeavors started picking up, man. I went to Punta Cana for my wife's 30th birthday. And it was fucking awesome, dude. This like amazing family resort, just like all inclusive. The beach was absolutely gorgeous. And I forgot, I didn't even realize that Punta Cana was like a third world country. So when you're driving through it, it can be a little sad, and it's very simple, but the resorts are absolutely fucking dope. And our room was beautiful. We had a balcony. And it was just fun. Like there was like 4 other couples out there, or 3 other couples out there with us, and we smashed it, bro. It was pretty much flawless. Like no bullshit, no drama. Everyone got time to themselves. We were in the pool a lot. Just wilding out, man. Just like I hopped on a golf cart with some of the workers, and we were fucking swinging, boy. It was so fun. Yeah, so like, I sent out a little message before we went to the group, and I was like, hey man, like, let's all just bring our best selves to this, right? Like there might be times where we're tired, but like, just dig deep and get that good energy out of you, and so it went flawlessly, man. I hope, I always look up on that trip as one of the best ever, if not like for 2023. But it was just one of the coolest things we could ever do. Like imagine just being on a beach, like looking around, being with your close friends, and just kind of reflecting. There's not much better. There's not many better feelings, right, that you could have in this world than that. So that trip wrapped up, bro. It was a great ass time, and then I went back to Punta Cana the very next weekend, but had an entirely different experience because I went for my buddy's bachelor party, and it was fucking ratchet, bro. Like there was like, I was staying with in the room with my buddy and one of the groom's cousins. And we turn on the TV and we're flipping through the channels, and there's only 2 channels. And they're both fucking soft, like amateur porn, dude. And I'm like, excuse me? So, dude, we're just like, leave it on. There's fucking porn in the background. We're just getting ready. I'm like, whatever, bro. I guess we're putting the mood on for the weekend here. But again, you're just getting trashed when you're with your boys and shit like that. It was fun. There was this pool party we went to where there was a bunch of fucking naked chicks walking around. We caught some people fucking in the pool. Just absolutely mayhem, bro. But if you're not part of the bullshit, it's always fun to just kind of watch it. If I'm being honest, something funny to report back on. But then that wrapped up, and I definitely like fucked my body up on that trip because like 2 weeks after I got back, I tore my meniscus. And then I got surgery in July. But intermittently me and my wife went to Orlando for a quick Memorial Day getaway, which was fucking cool, man. Like we went to Disney World. She had never really been out there, and I like to go out there and like kind of like pretend like I'm a kid, man. Like just enjoy like the wonderment of it all. It does look different as an adult, but you can see the draw of it for kids, and it's just cool. It's nostalgic. We went to some shows, dolphin shows, went to some seal shows. So we hit up Disney World SeaWorld on the first day, and then the second day we went to Epcot in the morning, or Animal Kingdom in the morning, and then Epcot at night. Just really another fun memory to make, dude. I was enjoying it. And then we came back, and a couple weeks went by, and went to Boston for a wedding, and it was my first time in Boston. I love the city. It's definitely an East Coast city. Kind of, you could tell it was like one of the first cities that were made, and they didn't, there wasn't much planning that went into it because they probably, couldn't. That's probably all that, they could do with it being one of the first cities to be made. I don't know that for sure. But it was fun. We got some good food. Went to the Time Out Market down there. One of my wife's friends came with us too. We walked around, saw Fenway. Went to a Target, obviously, because the girls needed shit for the wedding. But we stayed in Peabody, which is a little town by Salem. Salem's cool too, that you can tell it gets lit up there around Halloween. Definitely a place for white people. But it was a good time nonetheless, bro. We had a fun time. The wedding itself was beautiful couple. So happy for them. And nice and easy. But I was, all the while there's a little bit of sadness involved because I had to get my surgery and I couldn't dance, blah, blah, blah. But what are you going to do, right? Just have a good time either way. And then shortly after that, we went to the Weston Estate concert. Fucking turned up on that, dude. Weston Estate, you guys are fucking the shit, dude. You guys are awesome. That was one of the best concerts I'd ever been to. I have every song on Maggie Valley memorized by heart. And it's just cool. It was like a smaller concert. Definitely felt like a little older going there. But again, it's beautiful music. They're good live performers, and they still got that young boy energy. So they're really trying to make it a good time for us, and it was definitely a good time. But then yeah, after that, what do you call it? The next trip we went to Banff. Went out there for one of my girls' 30th birthdays. It was really fun, man. Banff is a gorgeous spot. We stayed out in Canmore. Went to Lake Moraine, which is beautiful. There's so many drone videos of Lake Moraine. It's gorgeous. The water is just saturated blue. Against the mountains, it's amazing. We went to Stampede, which I didn't know there's a huge cowboy culture out in Canada, right? So it's like this huge like kind of cowboy like, I don't know, festival thing. They got like rides, they got like Ferris wheels, they got this like drone light show, they got wagon racing. I'm all about that shit, bro. It was fucking dope. So then yeah, we did that, and hit up Banff, and yeah, I came back on Sunday. It was amazing. What can I say? I've been to Banff twice now. It's a majestic place. We went dog sledding actually, which was a dope experience. One, because they treat the dogs so like humanely. They only get them out once a day, and they're so cuddly. They all want to play. They all seem so happy, and just kind of like busting through the woods on these sleds was amazing. You can see some of the videos on my Instagram, but absolutely next level shit, dude. So much fun, and the people who work there are so kind, and you just want to like get to know them a little bit more. So there's that. And then what was that? So then I went down for surgery the next week, and I was off my feet for 6 weeks, which was kind of sad. But I learned a lot during that time. It was a good reset. And I feel like life just does that to you sometimes. You need a break from things. You need time away. You need to just focus on yourself. And if I'm not going to do that actively, then it's going to happen to me, right? But I caught up a lot on Roman history. Just like watched a lot of videos, read a lot of books. I read Helter Skelter. I started the Harry Potter books. And I honestly didn't even smoke weed for a long time. I didn't consume cannabis. I just felt like, if I'm not in a good headspace, if I'm working on myself, and I'm a little bit, I gotta get used to this new situation. I don't want to like, inebriate, or, I don't even want to use it as a potential crutch if that's what it is. So I just totally hopped off it for a little bit. But what I was overwhelmed. Was overwhelmed by like the amount of love and care. So many people came to check up on me. People came to see me, and not that I needed that from anyone, but my boys, my family, they all like came to see me, and it just feels good to have a good squad, and reminds you to invest in your squad, because it's moments like these that you remember them in. And I'm just blessed to have a few good friends, man, and that's about it. But we slowly started getting back into walking, and then me and my wife went to Michigan for a wedding, which was absolutely phenomenal. We drove out there, just kind of fucking turned up a little bit, and then drove back. It was amazing. We drove back the next day, and then we went to Italy. We went to Italy, and that was absolutely a breathtaking endeavor, man. I was so about that trip. Italy is crowded as fuck, mind you. So just go with that. So many people go to Italy. It is overpopulated with tourists, man. Run down with tourists. But you can see why once you get there. We flew into Venice, which is like we did like 2 hours to Atlanta, and then like a 10-hour trip to Venice. And Venice is unlike any other city, right? We got there, took a water taxi. So we took a taxi to our water taxi, and it took us to our hotel, which was right on the water. A beautiful hotel. There was this like wax statue there who, it was like this chick who was just like, look, she was in her like, she had bed sheets over. She looked sad, but she was a wax doll. It was crazy. And then that night we had a walking tour with my I think it was my boy Nicolo. He took us all around Venice, had a little Cicchetti experience, which is pretty much like, walking bikes and stuff like that. And that was phenomenal. Absolutely amazing. And so we did that. And what do you call, So that was the first night, and we're tired, right? So we got some food, got some seafood right on the water, and then passed out. The next morning, we went to do a what do we do? A cooking class. Yeah, we did a cooking class, and we went to this lady's house. So she chose to meet us in this like plaza, and I thought she was gonna take us to like her restaurant, but she took us back to her house, and she has a little kitchenette, and we made pasta and bruschetta and dessert, and all the while her husband, who's like a photographer, is just like up there chilling. He's just like chilling, doing his thing, and I'm sitting there like, wow, this is such a homey personal experience. Like we made pasta with her, like manual pasta maker, absolutely phenomenal. Made bruschetta, cut the tomatoes, strained everything out, and she was just so nice. She, I was, my heart was so full, right? But one thing we learned from the Spain and Portugal trip was that, like we should probably, save the longer stay for the tail end. That way we're at least relaxed, right? So we did 2 days in Venice, and then we flew to Florence. And then our first day in Florence, we did a walking tour. And Florence is a city unlike any other, dude. It's bougie, but historic. We saw the Duomo, went through all these amazing bridges, saw so many churches, went to a perfume museum. We stayed right on the plaza, dude. And we got some steak at night. Florence steak, I guess, is really good. I thought it was great. It's just a city unlike any other, very ornate. So many, like, it's like history and modern meets, there's like Fenty and bougie stores and all this shit. But it's in the heart of like this historic area. And I think there's rules against like what they can and can't do. There was a hotel that was like made out of an old school jail, which I thought was fucking funny as hell, so cool. And then the next day we did a Tuscany wine tour, again, so much fun. Went to like 3 vineyards. Everyone's kind of like not trying to talk in the morning except for me. And then by the time we get some drinks in us, we're having a great time. It was so much fun. And then by the time we left, this couple goes, "Hey, I hope you have a great life." And I go, "Oh shit. All right, Bob. Fuck yeah, dude. I hope you have a great life too." And then it was funny because, I was asking our tour guide, who's this fucking 6'5", like tall, like really nice Italian dude, super innocent dude. And I was asking him if he had any kids, and he goes, "I have a poopy. I had this poopy, and he barked too much." And then I was like, "Oh, you're talking about your fucking dog?" I was like, "I asked you if you had kids, and you just tell me you fucking shit your pants or something, bro. Like, I don't know about all that, but turn up." But anyway, so vineyard tour, awesome. And then we took another train over to Rome. And one thing that happened actually was I saw, so in in Rome or in Italy, you'd use these these coins to go to the bathroom, so that way, like, I guess like homeless people don't go in there or whatever, and it's kind of this gated area, so you have to wait your turn. And I saw this lady come out and slip and bust her shit, and she was actually sitting next to us on the train. I think she passed out. She passed out from the pain, and I was like, oh my God, I think she might have had a concussion. And that was kind of scary, but I ran off, and I was like, medico. I don't know if I just thought that meant medic, right? And it does, I think. But they brought some people on, and she was good, thankfully. So that was kind of tweaky. And then we made it to Rome, and Rome is fucking beautiful. There's all these like little corridors, bougie shit that goes on in Rome. The first day we got there, we did a 3-hour walking tour. They took us all around Rome, and we got to see so many like the highlights, right? And what was really beautiful was like, we stopped in at a little restaurant, right? It was like in a little corridor, and you could tell it was like a mom and pop spot. Like the grandfather is the owner, the daughters are working. There's like little babies running around, and people just come there for their lunch break, have wine and pasta and go back to work. And it was funny because you realize how in a rush we as Americans can be, right? Because I would ask for the check, and they'd be like, "No, just relax, dude, just relax." They kept saying that to me, bro, everywhere I go, and I'd be like, "Damn, I feel like fucking pretentious here, like I'm just like rushing everybody along." But I guess that's how it goes, and then so other than that, we stopped off at this this spot at night to drink some wine and have some like, olives and just like light shit after our tours. And it was just beautiful. We were in this narrow corridor. It was summer. It was like amazing. Really nice night. And there's just like flowers falling from the sky. I don't know where they were fucking coming from. And I was like, man, am I in fucking heaven right now? What is going on, And so we were constantly having moments like that, and just trying to chop it up with people. And the next day we did a Colosseum tour, which is awesome, and then the last day we did the Vatican tour, and everything's beautiful there. Like, don't get me wrong. I think our tour guide was a little pretentious on, I had just read up a lot on Roman history, so I was trying to talk about it. But I guess there's certain things that tour guides can and can't say. Because anytime you mention anything like remotely negative, right? Swerve, like not going to talk about it. And I'm like, that's interesting because like when we were in Spain and Portugal, the Spanish and the Portuguese had done a lot of bogus shit to Jewish people. And just like everyone does bogus shit to Jewish people. But they openly talk about it and there's monuments about it. And they're like, we just don't want it to happen again. These are reminders that tell us that we should never do some shit like this again. And I'm just sitting there like, wow, like that's good, right? You want to learn from these things. And I'm all about that. So I was proud of them for what that's worth, And the Vatican's awesome. It's just fucking crowded as hell, man. So be prepared to be fucking irritated, man. It's clogged up, but once you get in there, dude, it is the designs, the beauty is just absolutely phenomenal. And then we had some pasta outside the Vatican, which was, it's just something cool to say, right? And then the last night, we actually randomly got this reservation at a beautiful, at a beautiful resort. It's not resort. Why the fuck did I say that? At a beautiful restaurant, like an Osteria restaurant. And we were sitting there, and this Canadian couple sits down next to us, who are actually from Calgary, where Banff is, right? And they were just talking to us all night. And they're just a beautiful couple who has lived everywhere with their kids. They like started a soap company, and they just like travel the world. And I was just like, this is amazing. This is why I travel, right? To have conversations like this over food, just about life experience. And there's a book he recommended that I actually picked up, and I'm going to read it soon. It's called The Earned Life. I don't want to recommend it because I don't know how good it is, but I'm excited to just meet people, hear stories, share knowledge, shit like that, And then, we came back. Unfortunately, we had a long-ass layover. But I was riding a high, bro. Like, what am I going to do? I was having fun. We had a 5-hour layover at JFK. And then, like, we were delayed on the way home. But we made it, bro. We made it back. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? I still haven't processed it, So that was fun. We did go to Delaware, like, a couple weeks later for my cousin's wedding, which was okay. It was chill. Definitely family drama and shit like that, but don't need to go into that too much. But a fun wedding, nonetheless. Hey, I like going out there. I went to a little gastro pub called Del Pez in downtown Wilmington. Great food, sushi, but like Mexican style sushi. It was like a little gastro pub. It was fucking dope. Definitely got COVID there, so fuck that. That was my first time getting COVID, and I was fucking dumb that I went there and got COVID. But whatever, sometimes that shit happens. Then we kind of laid low. After that, like life became just like exponentially better. Even though it was like cold, right? Like for my birthday, my boys took me out to my first omakase experience. And the next day, my boys took me out for some steak. And my wife got some massages for me, took me out for sushi. Thanksgiving was fucking amazing. Always fun around Thanksgiving, right? To hang out with the family and eat and just like, chill out, play some card games, bond. And then my wife got a new job, and then we randomly planned a trip to Mexico, Cancun. Excellence Playa Mujeres, best fucking resort ever. A great way to cap off the year, dude. Absolutely phenomenal. My dumbass was stoned in the pool one day, and like I didn't rotate my body for like 4 hours, and like the right side of my face is just fucking burned, dude. But what are you gonna do? But before that, I did go to Tucson with my buddy, and we did some hikes. We talked about journaling, we reflected, and I really want to like, show this dude that like, we don't need to get fucked up when we go on trips, right? We can reflect, we can work out, we can eat healthy, and we can still indulge a little bit, So bro, like this year has been a whirlwind, and I'm excited to see what 2024 holds. I'm sure it's gonna have its own set of crazy shenanigans and whatnot, but I'm fucking ready for all of it. So that being said, I'm gonna cap it off there, but I hope you guys are enjoying the podcast. Feel free to leave me any feedback. And remember, only positivity. Thanks, y'all.